Talk about modeling many-to-many. So just like we had the annotations where you can have classes that are in a one-to-many relationship, and typically the default way to implement that is to have one of the classes be on the one side of the one-to-many, and the other class be on the many-to-one. But you could certainly have a many-to-many, yes. And the way to implement that, here's an example where you might have a student class and a section class, and there might be many students enrolled in many sections, and one section having many students enrolled in it. Yes, and the way you document that in UML is through an association, right? You have a line between the two, and then a third class, right, that associates the two. Right? And the way to implement that, you would reify that. Where that enrollment is basically just two one-to-manys, right? You have a one-to-many between the student and the enrollment, and then a one-to-many between the section and the enrollment. Yes, that's how you would reify it. Right? And so to implement this, here's an example. We have the section entity, right? And you establish, how the section and how the enrollments are going to participate. Okay. So for instance, the section is going to have a list of students, but the student is going to have a list of sections, right? You need to be able to see it from both sides, right? If you log in as a student, you like to see all the sections that you're enrolled in, yes? But if you're the registrars, I like to look at a section as a faculty or as a registrar. I like to look at a section and see all the students that are enrolled in that section. You see that? So each one of them has to be able to represent a collection of the other. So from the section's point of view, I have a list of students. But from the student's point of view, I have a list of sections. Yes? So to implement this, there's two different ways. Right? There's two different ways. One of them, I need to erase this. The default implementation is to just have a table in between. Well, the implementation is always going to have a table in between, right? Right. You have students and you have a section, right? The implementation is always to have a table in between, right? So here's the enrollment, and this is always going to be the implementation. Yes, right? This is always going to be an implementation. Now, there's two things. If this is an association, this not only has the foreign keys, but it would have additional fields. Right? So if the enrollment doesn't have any other fields, you would only have a foreign key here and a foreign key here, right? This is a foreign key to the student and a foreign key to the section. That's all you have. If that's all you have, then the configuration is very easy. The section points to the students, and the student points to the section. Yes, right? And the only thing you need to do is to add this additional annotation saying that there's going to be a table, that table. You give it the name, and then tell it what do you want to call the foreign keys. What do you want to call the foreign keys? You're going to say the way I'm going to join it is by a student ID and a section ID. You're going to have two fields, right? Two foreign keys, student ID and section ID. So there's going to be the student ID, and that's going to be the section ID, and that's how you do the join, right? And you configure it this way, right? And that's all you need to do. That's all you need to do. But okay, I don't have it. I don't have slides for it. If instead your enrollment table has other fields, maybe the grade that person got, right? The year that person took that was enrolled. Okay, what semester? Other fields. Now you can't use this strategy. You can't use this strategy anymore. Instead, the section would have to have a it would have to have not a section would not have a list of students. Instead, it would have a list of enrollments, right? Where you would implement an actual Java class, right? Where the student would be in a one-to-many relationship, and the enrollment would be in a many-to-one with the student. Yes? And same thing with the section. The section would be in a one-to-many with the enrollment, and the enrollment would be in a many-to-one with the section. So the section now would have two many-to-ones. We would have a many-to-one with the student, and we would have a many-to-one with the section. See that? Okay. So the student would have a list of enrollments, and the section would have a list of enrollments. Right? But the section would not have a list with the students, and not a list of students would have a list of sections. Right? So it depends. Right? If it's a straight many-to-many, you can use this strategy. If instead you have an association where you have additional fields, then you have to implement it with an additional Java class to hold the other fields. Okay, and implement it with two one-to-many relationships. Okay. All right. I think that's it. Enrollment. Okay. All right. Let's leave it there.